The two best players on tour right now are set to do battle soon, with Iga Swiatek squaring off against Ons Jabeur for the 2022 Italian Open title. Will Iga make it 6 consecutive tour titles including 5 1000s, or can Jabeur pull off the Rome-Madrid double? I'll break down this matchup and give my prediction of who I think will take the title here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today. Iga and Ons have played 3 times, and Jabeur actually leads the head-to-head 2-1, winning their last 2 matches. Ons first beat Iga last year at Wimbledon in the 4th round, 5-7, 6-1, 6-1, then at Cincinnati a few months later, 3-3. Though Swiatek trails in the head-to-head department, she outshines the Tunisian in pretty much every other field here due to her phenomenal 2022 season thus far. Jabeur, who played 1 match more than Swiatek, has spent about 90 more minutes on court in Rome. Looking at the path to the finals, first starting with Iga, she opened with a fairly comfortable win over Atlanta Gabriela Ruse. She then took out the former number 1 Victoria Azarenka despite an early 3-love deficit. In the quarterfinals, a similar story went down with another Slam champ, this time Bianca Andreescu, where the first set was highly competitive while the second set was much more of a blitz. Then in the semifinals, Swiatek played probably her best match of the tournament thus far, dominating Aryna Sabalenka 6-2, 6-1. As the scorelines entail, Swiatek definitely finishes stronger than how she starts. In the earlier stages of matches, her timing, understandably, is 100%, so she is prone to gift out more errors. Generally, she's able to use her champion instincts to scrape her way out of trouble and seal the opening sets. From there on, it's pretty much curtains as Swiatek's confidence grows sustainably and she really begins to step up and dominate from the ground. Her ability to recognize the slightest openings and take full advantage of them is incredible and just leaves opponents flat-footed staring in disgust. Literally anything that lands a hair short is practically an instant winner for the pole. Iga's return is also a big contributor to her success. She does a great job of neutralizing or even putting herself in offensive positions right off the bat on return because of the great depth and placement she gets on those shots. Aryna has a good serve, a decent serve, but Swiatek managed to break 6 times. Towards the end, she just completely stripped the third seed of her confidence, just running around and cranking forehand return winners back to back. As I alluded to earlier, Iga does a really good job at pouncing on her opponents early on in the second set and taking their heart out the match. Against Sabalenka, she actually went on a 13-point streak from the end of the first set to the early stage of the second. Ons, meanwhile, started off with 2 semi-comfortable straight set wins over Sorana Cirstea and Ajla Tomljanovic respectively. After dominating Yulia Putintseva for a spot in the quarters, Jabeur pulled off an astounding comeback, recovering from 6-1, 5-2, 30-love down to take out Maria Sakkari 1-6, 7-5, 6-1. The Tunisian had another tough affair in the semifinals, fighting off a match point to defeat Daria Kasatkina 6-4, 1-6, 7-5. Ons has done a great job at playing tennis matches on her own terms recently. She's been very steady from the ground and looks so effortless, just working the points, often dictating play. She's also not afraid to use her entire arsenal of tricks, getting opponents off balance with slices and drop shots, while also being able to step up and deal a final punishing blow with either the forehand or backhand. She's really upped the pace on those shots and has been able to finish points much quicker there. This only enhances her touch game because that way, she doesn't have to rely as heavily on the drop shots and can utilize them more effectively whenever she really needs to hit them. Ons' forehand has always been a pretty dangerous shot, but the backhand is where I see a significant improvement. She's been taking that backhand much earlier and in her strike zone, which has worked wonders, and we're seeing more and more winners come off that side. Jabeur's also done a great job of sensing whenever her opponent's in trouble and coming in to close at the net. Her net skills have been especially crucial this tournament as they allow her to come out on top of those short court type exchanges. One of the biggest changes that we've seen with Ons is her mentality. Madrid really seems to have totally skyrocketed her confidence as the 9th seed looks more poised and in control even when her back's against the wall. I feel like a few months ago she wouldn't have even been able to come back from that Sakkari match or even the one against Kasatkina. She truly believes that she can win each and every match that she plays at the moment, and she's currently doing just that. Plus, you know a player is brimming with confidence when they're consistently nailing drop shot return winners. As I mentioned earlier, Jabeur does have a 2-1 head-to-head advantage over Iga. This obviously bodes well for Ons, as she has beaten this great player for the past 2 times, matter of fact. Now, I do have to say, Iga now compared to last year are 2 completely different players. Watching their Cincinnati match was actually a bit strange to me because that way of playing was not at all what we're accustomed to seeing now. Iga had far less pace and conviction on her shots in that Cincinnati match and hit with far more topspin with more of her shots landing shorter in the court. Jabeur, as she should have, took full advantage, and she was the one controlling play. The last time I can think of someone consistently controlling the points against Swiatek was Collins at the Australian Open or Ostapenko at Doha, both being the Pole's last 2 losses. Jabeur does have the potential to step up and be aggressive, but not really take the racket out of Iga's hand type of aggressive. Now, power and aggression, of course, aren't the only ways that one can defeat Swiatek. Jabeur is gifted with being able to hit almost any shot in the book, and has the ability to take the racket out of opponents' hands with guile and finesse. I feel like she did that particularly well in their Wimbledon match, just leaving Swiatek completely flustered and not really knowing how to play the points at some points. Jabeur could very well have Iga's number, but the same thing was said about Maria Sakkari, who prior to this streak won 3 matches, 9 sets on the trot versus the world number 1. However, Swiatek's won their last 2 matches in straight sets. For Swiatek to even her head-to-head against Ons, I think she first needs to step up and apply pressure to Ons' serve. I think Jabeur's serve is decent, but her second serve especially can be very predictable, as she often slices it in the middle of the court. Opponents haven't been really taking advantage of that second serve as much as they should, which Swiatek is fully capable of doing, as we saw with Sabalenka. I also want Iga to continue playing her first strike style of tennis. In Cincinnati, I feel like she wasn't being proactive enough and taking her opportunities whenever Ons did leave a ball shorter in the court. Much of Swiatek's success this season is attributed to how well she's been able to seek out those openings and make opponents pay for any weak reply. This is especially important against Jabeur, as I feel like it'll also prohibit her from doing her drop shots and slices more often. The third point kind of coincides with this, which is to use the entire court. Swiatek does a great job at spreading the whole court with exceptional angles and precision. This needs to remain the case though, as by doing so, she'll be able to exploit Ons' movement, which generally isn't that weak. However, Jabeur has played a lot of tennis the past few weeks, and I know those legs have gotta be screaming for some rest at some point. The last point I have for Iga is to simply maintain a high first serve percentage so that Jabeur doesn't have as many opportunities to attack her second serve. Now on the flip side, in order for Jabeur to be successful, she needs to take advantage of Iga's second serve and attack it frequently like how she did in Cincinnati. People say that Swiatek's second serve is one of her greatest weaknesses because sometimes it just isn't that effective and can just sit up in the middle of the court primed to be attacked. She has been able to get away with this because opponents have been stepping up to the table like they need to and apply pressure. Sabalenka made the stupid mistake of backing up further to take the second serve, which only gave Iga a greater chance of going on the offensive. I want Ons on or inside the baseline on those second serve returns. Second, Jabeur needs to make sure that she has a good start tomorrow. This is pretty self-explanatory, but Swiatek is such a good front runner, especially in the finals. If you have a bad start against her, you likely won't be on court for that much longer. Third, I feel like Jabeur should continue venturing forward and taking the net whenever she has the opportunity. Iga's opponents have often tried to beat her from the baseline, and they've failed nearly every time. I think it's crucial that players hop on any little chance they have and look for a volley, as it takes time away from Swiatek and puts her in less comfortable positions. Ons is fully capable of this, as she's been highly successful in the forecourt all week. The last point I have for Jabeur is to continue incorporating variety. This is a major reason as to why she was so successful against Swiatek in the past, as mixing in those slices and drop shots brings her forward from the baseline, not on her own terms, thus taking her out of her comfort zone. Andreescu did a great job of this in the first set of their quarterfinal and had Iga in a lot of distress. Jabeur needs to make sure that she does the same here. For my final predictions, I have Swiatek coming through in 2. This is one of the few times that I'm really confident that a final will go down in straight sets. While Jabeur might just be Iga's new pigeoner, I just don't see it happening because, as I keep mentioning, her game is completely different now as opposed to a year ago. You also can't forget that this is a final where Iga always seems to play some of her best tennis. We all know about Iga's impeccable finals record, and not only has she won her last 7 finals, but she's won them so decisively, not dropping more than 5 games a match. Both women do have winning streaks on the line, Swiatek currently 27, while Ons has won 11 consecutive matches. These two women clearly have a lot of confidence at the moment, but Swiatek's streak is definitely more impressive, as she not only has 16 more wins, but has been far more dominant with only 4 matches going to 3 sets. Comparatively, Jabeur has struggled a lot more and has been on the brink of defeat in the past 2 rounds. Moreover, even in the midst of this winning streak, Jabeur's level has been susceptible to dropping for about a set, where she gets blitzed almost before she's able to turn it around and seal the deal. I don't know if it's because she's tired and intentionally wants to save energy for the final set, but this would not work with Iga, as Swiatek will take full advantage of that momentum shift. Swiatek, in my opinion, has a significant edge in the nerve department, as she's been on these big stages countless times before. Jabeur's a bit newer and has been more prone to faltering in the big moments. Madrid was a big step for Ons, being able to get over that hump of winning her maiden 1000. That can be very crucial for her here, knowing that she already has a big title like this under her belt. The major outlier for me though is the significant amount of tennis Jabeur has played the last month or so. Ons has competed a lot, even aside from Rome. She's played almost every possible week since Indian Wells and has been going deep in every last clay event. She made the finals of Charleston, quarters of Stuttgart, won Madrid, and is now in the finals of Rome. Her last 2 matches have also been pretty long, each lasting about 2 hours. Also, Jabeur won't have as much time to recover, as her semifinal was both much longer and held far later in the day. Oddly enough though, that scheduling might favor Jabeur in the finals. Ons attributes her success in Rome to the hectic back-to-back schedule she's undergone, including the quick turnaround from Madrid. I feel in Rome I didn't have the time to think, Jabeur said. The thing is, it's not nice to stress about it. In Madrid, I had a lot of time between the semifinal and the finals. It was horrible to wait. Maybe I take the great experience I had in Madrid to have it here in Rome. Maybe she won't have as much time to think about the moment here and can play more freely. Also, Jabeur knows that she's going to be the major underdog here, so the pressure really should be far greater on Iga. Still, I think that at the moment, Swiatek simply does not know how to lose, and with the way she's been playing, Jabeur has got to be 100% in all aspects to take her down. I don't see her bringing that 100% to the final, which is why I think that we'll be seeing Swiatek hold up the winner's trophy for the 2nd year running. Regardless of what happens though, it'll be nice to see the 2 best players on tour at the moment go at it in the finals of a big event. Both are number 1 and number 2 in the WTA finals race, and I hope we see a competitive final worthy of a 1 versus 2 matchup. That's all for this video, and let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree with me having Swiatek claim the final. Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post the recap to this match. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.